Hello, this is Grand Chief Rose here. I'm coming to you because people are trying to figure out what Canund Nation is. It isn't just a new place for our people to begin. It's also a real democracy, not the nonsense that goes on around supposed democracy worlds. They're all dictatorships, and then claiming democracy, thinking we're too stupid to know the difference, right? Well, Canund Nation has pure democracy. And by that, I mean real democracy. So here's the three forms: you get to vote for legislation, council members, and chief. Regional and provincial or federal councils. Now, technically, the Grand Chief and Council is technically the federal, but say there's we're in different countries working with different groups and stuff like that, then there would be ones put aside to help Grand Council run everything to help them keep up and make sure everyone gets fed, the whole 9 yards, right? So, you how it works is if you want a law put through or a bylaw, it goes down to each community. So if you move from one community to the next, you need to sign an agreement saying, okay, yes, I'm aware of these different rules, possibly from the other community, and I agree to them. If anyone who's supposed to help you get set up forgets that, and you break a rule by accident, not on purpose, obviously, then you're not held accountable. So there's also so how that works is quite simple. You elect different council members that represent different sectors of industry for your community, not different parts of the community. I think it's important that these people aren't a governing body. So when people say government, they think, oh no, they're going to go, right. This is a whole different setup. Council represents different industries in the community to help make sure people get fed, clothed, and have work, the whole 9 yards, right? And the medical needs are met. The whole, they have careers, stuff like that. Now the chief is the head guy who is leader, and he's pretty much the veto. If they can't decide on what to do, then the chief. So if it's a 4-4 split, because the council always of 8, then chief will come in like, okay, you know what? If you guys can't get along, we might have to get a new council, or I'll just if the chief doesn't want to make a decision. Now elections. Now, the main council's purpose, again, make sure everyone's needs are met. The basic, right? Now, they can never suggest a law or bylaw, whatever you want to call it. It has to be someone who brings it in. Now, say Tommy wanted to suggest, I don't like working Mondays, so let's put a law through saying we can't work Mondays. Okay. Now, here's the thing. That would infringe on people's freedom and rights through the Constitution. So they might suggest, well, why don't we put it through so if people wanted to work weekends, they could, and other people could work Saturday and Sundays, or sorry, Monday and Tuesdays off, and then Saturdays and Sundays kind of thing, and you split the crew between that, and this way it makes it easier for people who really don't like Mondays. Now, it doesn't have to be a law, it could just be a basic policy. Now, if that policy wants to go through, it would have to still go in front of the people. It has to be 80% or higher. And everyone's like, oh, democracy only demands 51%. We're going 80 because then the community as a whole agrees. We're not sitting there having 49% bullied by the 51%, right? That's why you have the 80% or higher that agrees and it moves forward. So that makes a huge difference. Now, the first councils, when you're building communities, usually always get appointed by the Grand Chief and councils. Then when come election years, so say 2025, 2030, so every 5 years, also those councils have to be changed out too. Now, when you've been in a council, you've been elected, you're there for 5 years, then you get a break for 5 years. You're not allowed to run again until another 5 years. Now, you might be asked if they did a really good job. Hey, you guys did a wonderful job, by the Grand Council and stuff like that to go and be put, to move and create when we're building a new community to be able to do that, and kind of temporarily govern that until the next election. Now, anyone who's been temporarily put in can run, kind of thing. It's only the people that were fully elected, same with sheriff and stuff like that. So yeah, we've got it quite interesting there. Now, here's the interesting part: is that Grand Council only has very little abilities. We get to appoint the first councils and sheriff and stuff like that. We help oversee the trust, make sure there's no corruption. Our pretty much our job is anti-corruption, pretty much. Our job is, once the council's in place and they take over, unless that council is corrupt, we have no say. Now, if they want to come for advice, we're happy to give it, right? But we're not. They have, they run things themselves, right? In the way that they're supposed to, and this is where real democracy comes in play. So that comes in, a little handy, right? Now, the Grand Council and Grand Chief are eventually going to be hereditary positions. So you have that group that has very little, how do you put it, roles. So they can also do diplomatic and trade, like, the trust and stuff like that. But they cannot interfere, right? And the reason why that is because we want democracy to stay in place, but you still have that anchor that from teachings that allows us to oversee, right? And like I said, they have to have proof, so it makes it easier. That's why you're kind of putting a bit of a monarchy, but without a king queen, with true democracy in order to make it work. Because as you can see, democracy itself can get very messy very quickly if the wrong people get in. And that's why you need some form of oversight. And that's what we did with our setup. So essentially, it's you got a little more pull than, I guess, the old royal families. But the point is that you still can be held accountable. So there's no unlimited immunity, right? Yeah, so we live in these communities, we represent these communities, and the council will keep getting bigger and bigger until, maybe we need to split into regionals. But yeah, I mean, there's the idea is if a community or an area is so big with a region, then the regional council, and then one person from that regional council would come represent, and they would, keep doing that until they resign. And normally it would either go by community, region, or family, depending how big that family is, and stuff like that. So it makes a huge difference. And I'm not saying you got on because you're related. I'm saying it's because, say you had a big family like the Turner, the Powders come in, and they represented 5 to 10,000 plus people. It would be nice to have a representative of that family to be able to give their needs to the head council. So you're going to have the general, or you're going to have the main council, that is Grand Council, and then you're going to have secondary, third. So you're going to have different levels of Grand Council to be able to move forward. This allows us to try to do the best we can to try to get people's needs met, plus our own. If we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others and help, right? And I know everyone expects the chiefs these days to do everything. So this is where it's kind of, we're working to balance it out. We don't have any welfare system. We have a disability. We have it set up so that way, you work and you get rewarded for it. We train people. We help people get back up on their feet. It's with keeping tradition in mind. So this whole democracy system, real democracy, is a huge difference and a whole different system than what anyone else has done. But I think sometimes you need that voting in and that anchor to help keep it a pivot so that way you don't have people going rogue. Either way, guys, my time is up. God bless. Please share. And may the Creator be with you.